According to Kyle Richards, a star of Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, the cast of season 14 is either sick of her or not. There have been rumors that her fellow cast members had become exhausted, with Kyle's never-ending complaining. It was not even certain to her whether she would come back for another year, but she did, and things were not looking very promising at this point. What does the woman who is a mother to 4 children have to say about herself? Continue reading for further information. Kyle Richards has not had the finest few seasons, and he has given some thought to returning to Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Throughout her tenure, there have been pivotal instances in which she has considered resigning, although she has never actually done so. A terrible vacation to Aspen and her sister Kathy Hilton's outburst were the events that brought the season 12 to a close. Among the other members of the cast, including Kyle, Kathy made some appalling comments. It had been a long time since they had reconciled, but now they were at a standstill. After that, season 13 arrived, and it was all about the marital problems that Kyle and Mauricio Umansky, her husband of nearly 30 years, were experiencing. However, she insisted that she and Morgan Wade were just good friends despite the fact that she was supposedly having an affair with the country musician. A reconciliation had taken place between Kyle and Kathy at the time of the reunion, but she and Mauricio had already reached an official separation. Kyle ultimately made the decision to come back, but he had to contend with Mauricio's new relationship with Nikita Khan as well as an approaching divorce. It has been asserted by a number of people that the cast is tired of her complaining in the midst of her breakup. But is this truly the case? In order to clear the error, Kyle has stated unequivocally that this assertion is wholly groundless. In an interview with Reality Blurb, Kyle Richards revealed that she has received a great deal of support from everyone despite the fact that she acknowledges that she may be challenging despite the fact that they were all supportive, who in particular was there for Kyle when she needed someone to lean on, with the exception of Kathy Hilton, who is returning for this season. Time for a reunion. During the reunion, everyone is required to take responsibility for their actions throughout the season and make an effort to make amends with one another. When it comes to the reunion for the 14th season of Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, where does Kyle Richards believe the most answers are needed, despite the fact that filming for that is not going to take place anytime soon? Kyle is aware that she will be in the spotlight when the time comes. On the other hand, she acknowledges that the season was therapeutic for her despite everything that she had to go through. That, in point of fact, was the most enjoyable portion of the season. There is a good chance that this season will be one that is full with exciting events. On top of that, there are a few more stories to tell regarding what has happened with the cast during the season. Dor Kemsley is said to have been booted by Sutton Stress-Horse, and it is possible that circumstances such as these could make for an unusual season. Are you excited for the next 14th season, or have you already tired of it? Furthermore, do you believe that the cast is genuinely sick of her, and that she is merely acting that they aren't upset with her? After more than a decade as the queen bee of the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, Kyle Richards knows a thing or two about shifting dynamics, backstabbing confessionals, and perhaps most importantly, when her presence starts to wear thin on her fellow castmates. Now, as filming for season 14 wraps up, Kyle is offering a brutally honest take. Yes, she knows some of her co-stars might be tired of her, and yes, she can feel it. I could feel the eye rolls before I even walk into a room, Kyle said with a dry laugh during a new interview with Bravo Insider. I know I've been here since the beginning, but that doesn't mean I'm always welcome. At least not this season. It's the kind of candor fans have come to expect from Kyle, especially as her personal life continues to take center stage and her once ironclad relationships with other housewives begin to crumble under the pressure. A decade of dominance and distance when Kyle first joined RHOBH. In 2010, she was the grounded younger sister of Kim Richards, the Beverly Hills mom with 4 daughters, and one of the more relatable women in a sea of diamonds and drama. But over 13 seasons, Kyle's role has morphed from emotional anchor to the show's unofficial narrator, and for some its biggest lightning rod. Being on the show this long, it's like being in a long marriage, Kyle told cameras during a season 14 confessional. You love each other, but you start to get on each other's nerves, and I'm sure I've gotten on theirs. Behind the scenes, rumors have swirled that some of the newer cast members feel Kyle is untouchable, too controlling, or simply too familiar for the evolving tone of the franchise. She's always in the middle of everything. A production insider spilled, that's great for drama. But when you've been the center for so long, people start to want a new sun to orbit. Kyle versus everyone. Season 14 has seen Kyle more vulnerable than ever. Her separation from Mauricio Umansky, once the most stable marriage in the Housewives universe, has dominated the narrative. And while some castmates like Garcelle Bass and Sutton Strah offered cautious support, others allegedly grew weary of Kyle's ever-expanding emotional spotlight. There were moments this season where I felt like people were done with me, Kyle admitted. They'd nod when I talked, but it didn't feel real. I could feel a shift, and I get it. I've had a lot going on, maybe too much. In one pivotal moment, captured during a group dinner in the OG Valley, newcomer Alice Monroe reportedly said aloud what others were only whispering. Kyle, we're here for you, Alice began. But it's starting to feel like your life is the only one that matters this season. According to multiple insiders, the table went silent. Kyle, for once, had no comeback. She just sat there blinking. A source recalled, she was stunned and a little hurt. The OG burden being the last original cast member still standing comes with prestige and pressure. Kyle has outlasted icons like Lisa Vanderpump, Camille Grammer, and even her own sister Kim. But the longer she's stayed, the more weight she's carried. I'm the one who always shows up, Kyle said. I keep the stories moving. I connect the cast, but sometimes I wonder, is that appreciated or resented? Lisa Rinna, who exited the show after season 12, once said in an interview that being Kyle Richards on RHOBH is a blessing and a curse. She's the glue. Yes, Rinna said, but glue gets sticky, and people want to pull away. Even fans have been divided. On Reddit, some say, it's time for Kyle to step back or take a break. Others argue she's the heart of the show, and without her, the whole thing might unravel. But Kyle herself seems conflicted. I've thought about walking away more times than I can count, she confessed. But I always end up coming back. Maybe it's habit, maybe it's hope. Friends turned foes. What's perhaps most telling this season is how fractured Kyle's relationships have become. Not just with the audience, but with her friends. Once thick as thieves alliances with Dorrit, Kemley, and Erica Jane have reportedly thinned, and even Sutton, who started off this season trying to be more empathetic toward Kyle, ended up calling her emotionally manipulative in a now viral confessional. She knows how to cry on key, Sutton quipped. I just don't know what's real with her anymore. Kyle has addressed this tension directly. It's hard to hear people you thought had your back start to doubt your sincerity, she said. But maybe that's on me too. I've put up walls. I've been guarded. One Bravo exec described this season as Kyle's reckoning, not because she's done anything overtly wrong, but because the cast around her is no longer treating her as the default leader. They're challenging her. The ex said they're calling her out. It's not the Kyle show anymore. What's next for Kyle? Despite the emotional turbulence, Kyle says she's not bitter. In fact, she feels more aware of her role and her limits than ever before. Maybe they're sick of me, she admitted with a small smile. But guess what? Sometimes I'm sick of me too. She adds that whether or not she returns for season 15 is still undecided. I need to think about what I want, Not what the show wants, not what the fans want, what Kyle wants. In the meantime, she's focusing on her daughters, her fitness journey, and continuing to navigate her separation with grace. She's also hinted at launching a podcast and penning a memoir, a real one, she joked, not a ghostwritten fluff piece. As for her castmates, Kyle says she holds no grudges, but she's done playing nice. I've given this show everything, she said, and if that's too much for some people, that says more about them than it does about me. Final word, queen or cautionary tale. As season 14 prepares to air, fans are eager to see how this new version of Kyle plays out. One that's tired, tattered, but still standing and still speaking her truth. Whether you love her, loathe her, or simply feel she's overstayed her welcome, one thing is certain. Kyle Richards is still the name on everyone's lips, and that in Beverly Hills is power. Let us know in the comments below.